Okay, well, I guess we are live with not hammered out.
This is not. This is not hammered out.
No, it's not. Not in the slightest.
No, it is not in the Tears Day edition. Not hammered out. This is a different show. I don't know what's happening.
This is why there is no background music for this show currently. Don't worry.
Is there no background music
I'll
because?
fix that.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
There's a technical difficulty.
Now there's background music. What are you talking about?
This is not hammered out.
There was background music the whole time.
Am I hearing the background music?
Oh,
this
wait.
time?
Hold on. You might be. Oof. One sec.
What's the oof there?
There we
It's
go.
kind of cool that I can hear it now. Oh, you just made it so.
Kind of cool that you can hear it now.
Yeah, I was like, neat. I can sing along.
You can sing along?
Correct. That's the idea. That's what I like to do.
So the reason that happened is technically I could set it up to where you could hear it again. Problem is, let's see.
But he wants to hide the music from me.
Well, so here's the thing. So it's set up right now to where you can hear anything that comes through my desktop, but not through my headphones. The music is playing through my headphones and not through my desktop. And the stream is hearing things through my headphones and not through my desktop. And I can't change it while we are share screening.
Sure. So, there's technology that exists. There's words.
Isn't technology great?
No.
You
No.
don't love it?
It's fucking evil most of the time.
Also, you're framing. You're like, your head is cut
what
off.
What is going on? Maybe I should just slouch more.
Just
Let's look at
welcome to Hammered Out Multiple Chins Edition. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Sorry. Anyways.
Something. Camera.
How is everyone doing today?
It's good enough.
It is Tuesday. It is a stream day. Tuesdays and Thursdays are stream days from here on out as much as I can help it. I am trying my damnedest to be on the best schedule I possibly can. I am ahead 2 episodes right now as well. So, like, I actually might legitimately be able to have a fucking schedule finally. That might be a thing I can do.
Are you ahead?
Yes, I have Wednesday's video finished. That's already up for patrons. And I have Friday's video finished. That goes up at the end of this episode for patrons as well. So yeah, I have things.
I don't know. I'm just gonna.
Oh, was there a pun there that I missed?
No, it's the camera. I keep going. Well, if it was just a little bit higher, if they split the difference, and hey, this works. Because like
Now it's
if I
not
go
like-
too high, then the beard like just sinks below the camera line, and I look like this floating head.
Now you're not just like
If
this.
it goes too low, then it just chops off, and I look like I'm just like I have no top of my head. You know, it's. I don't know. It's finding a balance. The beard keeps getting longer, so this is going to be an ongoing thing.
And Brian Stevens in the chat says, I noticed Cyrus is at 31k subs. Can't wait to see him hit 50k, then 100k. I don't know if I'll ever hit 50k because the channel is slouched. Like, I get maybe 2 to 3 subs a day now. Versus
Share constantly.
Share constantly?
Share constantly.
Share
If
where?
you hit the like buttons, not you.
Oh.
I'm talking to chat. Share constantly. If you want to see him hit the higher numbers, jump into that 50k range. Just share constantly. But yes,
Fair.
that'll help the algorithm, the almighty algorithm, which has run over Surus and then hit in reverse and backed up over him a couple of times because with the channel being stolen and other shit that's been going on, it's been like pretty much just sneaking up from behind you and whacking you with a blunt
hammer?
object.
You know the
Trying to think of
picture
an example of a blunt object that could also be a weapon, but I couldn't. Nothing came to mind. So, anyway,
a flail?
a mace,
A flail, a mace. Have you considered a baseball bat?
a club. Welcome to Clubbed Out.
I was Wow.
maced out, flailed out.
Hammered out.
What's a hammer? It's not Thursday.
Oh, I know. Video game controller. That's a blunt weapon, right? Right in the temple.
We have a subject to talk about.
We do. We do.
Do we?
We are desperately avoiding the subject. And the
We are
reason
avoiding the subject as much as possible.
The reason is that this subject blows dick because this is something that I wish I didn't. I wish I wasn't talking about. I wish I didn't have to talk about. But I feel like I do because holy shit, if you have been paying attention to Atheist Twitter by any stretch, yes, it is on fire. And this is not me trying to do a drama thing. I don't give a fuck about drama. Drama is not my bag. But what this is me going.
A lot of tea, though.
This is tea, and
tea.
What this is.
If anybody likes tea in the chat, this is going to be a small tea party.
This is a spilling of tea.
Put on a funny hat and call yourself Mrs. Nesbit, because we are going to be having some tea.
Also, Michael Conning, this stream is fan art compliant, very much so. If you submit fan art, it will go up. Though I will say that if you have any love for organizations such as Atheist Republic, Atheist Alliance International, and there's one more, but I don't remember the name of it.
All right, talking about AAI, Atheist Republic. Those are the two orgs, pretty much. Oh, and then there's Atheist of Puerto Rico.
Yes. If you have any love for those two or those three organizations, then if you do not want to have your fan art featured on this episode, then I completely understand. This is the reasons why when I do like a lot of more triggering episodes on my channel, I generally don't put fan art up on those ones.
This is one of those. There's organizations we're going to be discussing.
Yeah. So
if you like those orgs, then, but you might not like those orgs after you hear what we have to say about them.
The thing is that these things are not full-on representations of the organizations themselves. There are good things that
with AAI it is.
With AAI, with some of these organizations, there are
maybe
there are
Puerto Rico, perhaps.
There are good things that these organizations do and can do. The issue we have right now is that it seems like the leadership of them is potentially what's been contributing to some of the straw men. Who we've been seeing a lot. You know the straw men of like the atheists that have no morality, no moral code. That whole like Christian straw man we get all the time that we have to fight back with a fucking baseball bat.
That tweet. I was so surprised at that tweet.
I think I figured out where some of that's coming from.
I was like, what is happening? Are you gonna put it up?
I'm gonna. You want me to start with that one?
We can start with that one.
I mean, sure, we'll start.
It's not the start of everything, but it is. It does kind of like lead into a lot.
The real thing is, which tweet is it? Hold on.
Someone I sent you just now. Yeah,
I got it. It's right here. It's depressing. It makes me want to cry. All right, so this is, and we're gonna get called out as like cancel culture shitbags on here. I know it. The purpose of this is not to create a hate mob. The purpose of this is not to create a stemmy of people who are going to go against these organizations and defund them and destroy them. No, this is literally call out your leaders and make them do better. Holy fucking shit. Which apparently the person who I'm going to be showing on screen doesn't think is a good idea either, because of another tweet. Do you remember that one?
The funny, yeah. Like we shouldn't. Oh God! All right, we'll get to that one soon as well. But are you showing the tweet?
I'm about to. I'm about to. Okay. Tweet is up.
Go ahead and do it. Is it?
There we go. I need to.
Oh my God! The fucking.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
There we go.
Your what is it called? Aspect ratio, my dude. All right,
dude, it's getting ratioed. I'm so sorry.
What is good or bad?
What is good or bad? Religious institutions only have those constructions. Wait a minute. Hold on a fucking second. So you know that meme, right? That meme among Christians. How can atheists even talk about morality? They can't even have it. They can't have objective morality. They can't even figure out what's good or bad. Ha! Look at me tipping my Christ fedora. That fucking shit? Okay.
Christ fedora?
Yes, it's like a fedora, but it's not black.
Okay.
It is a pasty white fedora with like a cross super glued on. I was studying the Blade and the Bible. I have God and anime on my side. That.
No.
So
I'm announcing on my Discord that this is not hammered out.
This is totally not hammered out. So that whole meme, we all can agree that that's stupid, right? Like, I don't know how many times I can go into something on my channel, going over why this meme is stupid, why people shouldn't take that thing seriously. Like, how many times I can deconstruct fucking morality in a way that does not involve a god as a moral arbiter.
Right.
And yet we still hear it over and over again. This is one of the fucking reasons.
I'll read what I said to somebody else recently about this. Let's see if I can find it, because
For those who want to follow along again, this is the tweet.
Yeah. So I said that, yeah, non-religious people can have notions of good and bad. This is pretty simple. In fact, this criticism that is applied to atheists by Christians is often too applied to pagans. So this is actually something that Christians and polytheists would be aligned on, that yes, of course, we can have notions of good or bad. And that's not something that Christian Abrahamics have a fucking monopoly on. And I don't know why the president of an atheist organization is deciding to say, hey, let's hand that monopoly over to religious institution. And it's something that also, like even taking the religion blanket out of it, she talks about religious institution. This is then effacing, solitary practicing pagans, and as well as any atheist, even those that are involved in an organization. They can't have any sort of moral through line or moral compass, or even intuition about morality, which means that like atheists that like talking about morality, such as like Shannon Q and Apologia, this is trying to take out a leg for them to stand on. Essentially, it's weird. It's weird. It's very weird, Cirrus.
It is. No, I agree. And so, first of all, before we get into anything else, Michael, you do need to choose a color. I'm going to try something with the... Okay, so red. Communist red. Cool. Rules apply. We are doing...
Oh, yeah, the super chats with the light.
Super chats of 5 or more.
The tiniest carrot on the table that brings the crowd.
Super chats of $5 or more turn into
the color.
The ability to choose the color. I'm going to actually see if I can maybe change the color of the entire stream. That might be a little ambitious, but I'm gonna give it a shot.
Don't do it. Are you trying the technology, Cirrus?
I'm trying to technology. I have the technology.
Do you?
I think so. In fact, actually...
Everyone tells Cirrus he does not have the technology. I disagree with him quickly.
You guy, why would you tell me that I do not have the technology? I'm fairly certain I do. It's just turning it commie red. Like, what could go wrong in just trying to turn the stream red? Anyway,
where do we want to start with this journey, Cirrus?
So, this journey, we're starting. We might as well. We're starting here just as an example. But holy shit, having that red just on my screen gives me that like. Right before Kylo Ren fucking spoiler alert.
Are you on fire?
Right before Kylo Ren fucking kills his dad. This is the lighting from that scene. Right here. Are you okay, Ocean?
Damn it. Yeah, you got like a red panel light.
The subtle.
Essentially, you do, because that's what a monitor essentially is at the end of the day. It's basically a weak panel light. Yeah. Anywho, are you Kylo Cirrus?
Ben Swallow. Let's go. No, okay. So I need to. I didn't realize I wanted to do this until this happened. So now I'm here wanting to do this, and
No, don't do the thing.
Don't do the thing.
Don't do that thing.
But,
do the tweet thing. We need to go through the subject.
But Ocean.
I know you're an ambitious motherfucker, but
so hear me out, Ocean. Hear me out.
No.
Hear me out.
No.
What if I just Nope, fuck. Everything is now wow.
This stream is going to be a disaster.
That is way too much. Way too much.
All right, guys. I told Surus he didn't have the technology.
Look, I thought I was doing a good.
You were not.
I was wrong. Everything is far more red than it's supposed to be. I have made mistakes, guys. I have made horrible, horrible mistakes. The real question is, can I fix those mistakes? And the answer may surprise you. I think I did. There we go. The stream is red, but not in the way we originally thought. I did it, guys. I did it. You okay, Ocean?
I have...
Oh my god. The stream looks like a Giallo film.
Let's not anymore.
Not the song, or not change the entire color of the stream?
Change the entire fucking color. Let's not.
Wait. I have an idea. How many ideas can I have on this stream? Will any of them actually be good? Is the question.
I think we're now.
Holy shit! We did it! We did it!
In
Look,
chat is watching a test stream. Oh no!
Check it out.
Succeeded. Look out!
Look now. Ocean is clearly visible. I am clearly visible. Chat is clearly visible, and everything behind me is really fucking red. Not behind me, but like the background is really fucking red. We did it. We did it, guys. Everything is on fire as intended. I thought you said we weren't doing any more of that.
Oh, we succeeded, though.
We succeeded?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
That's a little dumb. All right.
We're not doing it for 3 minutes. We're doing it for 5 minutes, because every 3 minutes was a bit fucking much last time.
3 minutes was crazy.
Yeah, so every 5 minutes.
So 20 minutes into the stream, what is the subject matter that we're discussing? We have this tweet from the president of Atheists of Puerto Rico that put forward that basically morality is in the hands of religious institution. So why did this happen, Surus?
Why did this happen? Well, this all dials back several months beforehand. Several months before.
Are we going straight to the early tweets of Michael Sherlock?
No, we have to talk about John Richards for a second.
Oh, no. Who's that?
You don't.
I've never done 3 videos on him.
So, John Richards is an interesting character in that he is a representative for a very prolific atheist organization, and also embodies, like, many of the negative stereotypes about atheists that get levied at us all the fucking time.
He's a straight-up anti-theist. Let's not mince words. Like, I know that you identify as an anti-theist in some context, Surus, and I'm gonna have a conversation with you about that. But he is pretty much the worst example of what the popular notion of anti-theist is. That, you know, basically just straight up religion hating, blaming problems in the world on religion in general. It's a long list of things. He's also just very professional and mild-mannered and not at all in either of those things. He did an interview with Shannon Q. He did an interview with Navardia, both of which went horribly.
Swimmingly. Perfectly fine. Nothing wrong. Ever.
Really bad. He screamed the same word multiple times into the screen at Navardia. Used the I don't think you were there defense for Lawrence Krauss on the issue of platforming him at his event. It was like it's a weird thing. It's like it's not. And the thing about platforming Lawrence Krauss at his event, it wasn't that the problem was Lawrence Krauss was there. It was the reason that he gave for why it was okay. It's like, well, we're just going to ignore the idea of any accusation against him. Because you weren't there, Shannon Q. You know.
Yeah, which is like I know that there's wiggle room where like the Lawrence Krauss situation is concerned, where
right.
like there's a legitimate conversation of, okay, at what point is this person's really fucking socially awkward and doesn't understand cues, to, okay, this is starting to look like predatory behavior. Like
right.
there's a line there, there's a conversation there, but as opposed to even thinking that conversation could
the answer to that, in order that you could make some kind of like political thing, is to say we understand the accusations, or and we have a safety policy in place. He's there for his expertise on science, and you can try to finagle that conversation there. You shouldn't the attempt to absolve him because the person interviewing him wasn't present is a weird route to go with that defense. He didn't do that. He didn't do the former. He did the latter, and it was really weird. But I agree with you. There's a conversation that can be had about like awkwardness and stuff, but it's not. He didn't do that either.
No.
There was all kinds of like. There were many ways to approach that conversation, and I think that one of them is probably the best way, if he still wanted to do what he wanted to do, but he didn't. But anyway, there's a video on my channel called "Professionalism in Action" with John Richards. If you want to see like a highlight of his hottest moments in interviews, where he's incredibly professional and shows exemplary behavior in how to do public relations work for a convention in trouble. Watch that video for the dumpster fire. But yeah, John Richards is an interesting character, but he's associated with AAI, and I believe that he's his position there something to do with public relations. Let me look that up actually real quick,
just to make sure you're not stepping on anything on accident.
Yeah.
Oh, and the timer has gone off, which means I'm not gonna do that shit. I'm not gonna have that noise. No, I'm not gonna have a beep every freaking 5 minutes. So we are at the 5-minute mark. That means we are now supposed to change to a nice soft blue, which will make Ocean happy.
Of course, I am Team Blue. Publications director. He's the publications director at AAI.
Do you play Team Mystic in Pokemon Go?
I did.
You did?
When I was playing Pokemon Go. I don't know. Anywho.
Oh,
yeah,
wow, that looks really weird.
Looks really strange.
Applying the blue to that looks really fucking strange. Okay, then.
But right, so that was that's John Richards. And he held this convention. It was a mess. I did 2 videos on it, and then also did a sizzle reel of John Richards' greatest hits. If you want to check those things out, both videos, I think one of them is around. They're close to 30 minutes a piece.
Mm-hmm.
But then he tries to sue one of his critics, and it's really weird, trying to say that he owes him 6 figures for essentially sharing his interviews that was done with one of his former colleagues, as well as who's arguably a current colleague. This is also the AAI is the same organization that hired David Silverman to be their executive director for a period of time. I want to say that this Michael Sherlock guy is the new executive director.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, go on. You got the thing.
So, might as well go ahead and pull up our lovely tweet here from Michael Sherlock. There is another straw man. There's a lot of these. It's really agitating. But there's another fun straw man where atheists are concerned, atheist activists, that they're all on the left. They're all pro-Islam. That means that they want Sharia law. What? But you get this kind of shit talking point from people like Paul Joseph Watson all the time, who is going to factor into the conversation today, by the way. So if any of y'all are familiar with Paul and his dumb shit takes, he factors into this conversation as well. I don't know if you knew that, Ocean.
I don't. Paul
Joseph Watson.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Yeah. Boom.
Perfect.
So, oh wow, the fan art actually covers it. I need to put that right there. Okay, so new progressive feminist Barbie, Sharia-compliant hijabi. Now, I've seen this meme a few times. It's not, like, Michael didn't create this. At least I don't think he did. But what kind of message actually gets communicated by something like this? Like, if you are trying, as the leader of an organization, to help people, what is communicated by this? Because now, let me go ahead and preface this. If the goal of your organization is to save people, which I know the Atheist Alliance International does do, they will get people out of Muslim countries, ex-Muslims out of Muslim countries, and bring them to safety. That's the thing they try to do, which will factor into the conversation as well. But an image like this, when you pop something like this up, I know that it's technically a joke and blah, 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 but if you are representing an organization, when you do something like this, what kind of message actually comes across? Because I can tell you it comes across to me, were I a Muslim, which I'm not, but were I a Muslim and I saw that message, the blowback effect would have or the backfire effect would have happened immediately.
Right.
As opposed to thinking for a second that I should probably look at that and go, yeah, no, beating women is wrong. We shouldn't do that. My immediate thought would be, don't you understand that Islam was one of the first religions to grant women many of their rights? Don't you understand that? What kind of bullshit is this? I mean, yes, technically that's a whataboutism thing. It's skirting the actual problem that in certain sects of Islam you are allowed to abuse a spouse like this, even like denial of sex and then leading into other things. There's a whole fucking passage about it in the Quran. But I would engage immediately in the whataboutism about granting women's rights, because earlier surahs in the Quran, I believe it's in the Cow, they specifically mentioned that there's an allocation of inheritance that can be given to women, which was not a thing, not popularly anyway, before that point. Now, granted, the inheritance allotments is not that much, and it's a really weak talking point, but it's where I would default into, which would prevent any conversation that could potentially lead to saving someone. Like, the backfire effect would just be in full fucking display.
Right.
So, while yes, I can understand looking at this and going, haha, it's a funny joke.
It's an attack that is basically it kills the nuance in order to, make a gotcha point.
Yeah.
It's essentially what it's what it wants to do. So,
which I am pulling here. Speaking of saving people in Muslim countries, we need to talk about.
Well, we should put up the Genesis tweet.
The Genesis tweet?
Yes, the relic tweet.
Yeah, that is a thing that I should probably. Is that not one that I even have?
There's what happened was Michael Sherlock got into a bit of a tussle with KC, Kid and Chloe, where, yeah, because Michael Shermer, I keep thinking Michael Sherlock made a rather interesting tweet.
So, ironically enough, I don't think I actually have
Did
that
he delete
tweet.
it?
He might have? Weird. Yeah, he might have deleted
It may have been a part of his suspension.
Fair. But I do have his blasphemy in the atheist movement conversation.
It's quoted, I think, probably in there.
Yep. So let's go ahead and pull up that one real quick, just so we have that conversation that can be had. Let me see how much of this actually gets popped up here. Okay, a significant amount that we can see what's going on. Okay, so let's talk about Michael Sherlock, why there was even a conversation about him in the first place. Says he recently stirred up controversy among many atheists on Twitter, some of whom might be considered high-profile atheists, with the following tweet: "Religion is an arcelor relic that really needs archiving in humanity's library of bad ideas." That is the original tweet. I'm going to pop that off for a second so we can talk about that tweet and why this again doesn't work. You are a member, a high-ranking member, regardless of who you are, of an organization. You represent that organization. And if you represent that organization, there's certain decorum that you generally have to apply to yourself to make sure that you do not cause problems within it. Like, for instance, Papa John CEO. Do you remember the debacle that happened with him with the racial slurs and shit? And then he was like, "Okay, that's not cool. I have to step down."
On company time, no less.
Hey, I make $1. Boss, I make a dime. Or no, boss makes $1. I make a dime. That's why I shit on company time.
I think it's the third time I've heard that reference this week. For some reason, it's been coming up a lot. All right, anyway.
Hashtag socialism. But when you represent an organization, there's certain decorum that you have to maintain whenever you are engaging with the public. Now, if you want to say something like this, it would just with your drinking buddies, fine, whatever. Who actually cares? But when you engage with the public, which when you're doing stuff on Twitter, when you're doing stuff on Facebook, when you're doing stuff on YouTube, that is engagement with the public. This is no longer your private space. You are now held to the standards of the public forum.
Right.
And when you engage without decorum in the public forum, things don't necessarily go very well past that
also,
point.
That which you say publicly is up for criticism. Full stop. If you say something publicly, it's up for criticism. Your tweets are being said publicly, especially if you're the president of an organization and you have executive director. And if you have that you're the executive director of that organization in your fucking bio, then yeah.
Which, again, this creates the backfire effect. If you are wanting to rescue people from... Let's say that I grant that religion is the most horrible thing in the entire world for the purposes of this conversation.
We'd fight.
But if I grant that for the purposes of this conversation, basic public relations, you lead more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. If you are going to... and this is just a pragmatic appeal. This isn't even like a moral one. I'm not even talking about that shit yet.
But this is honey for asshole atheists, sir.
Yes, but those are people who don't need help. They're the people who are, generally speaking, they're the people who are already out.
Yeah.
They're the people who are already fine. Like, you're not trying to... That's just preaching to the choir. If I wanted to make 10 videos on my channel going, why religion is fucking bullshit, there'd be at least 10 people that... They're not 10 people. There'd be at least 90% of my audience going, yeah, you're right. I would just be preaching to the choir. It's not It's not effective. It's not good rules of engagement, and if I were representing an organization, it wouldn't help towards my goals. If my goals are to help people and save people, rhetoric like that doesn't help and save people, especially if I'm trying to get them out of violent situations, because the effect on me as a person, as far as like any country being willing to have me there, the more inflammatory my rhetoric, the less likely a country is going to be willing to have me cross their borders in order to engage in any of this activist work that I'm trying to do. If you'd like a prime example of this, please look at Steven Anderson, currently banned in 35 countries now. Your rhetoric...
It's funny that a lot of this applies to him.
Like, you are responsible for your rhetoric, and if you want to enact positive change, your rhetoric will have an effect on how much change you can actually engage in. Not just in who is going to want to engage with you as a person, but also in what's going to happen when you try to go into another country when somebody recognizes you. If I walk into a church right now and 10 of the people in that church recognize me, I don't know what the blowback effect is going to be, but I would hope it would be much better right now than it would have been based on how I comported myself 2 years ago on YouTube.
Yep.
So, I don't know who is trying to call me from Cleveland, Ohio, but I'm in the middle of a show, and if you're watching, I'm sorry.
Answer the phone and yell at them. It'll be a bot telling you that the warranty on your vehicle is expired.
Hi, would you like help with your student loans? If I had any. This is where I'd put my student loans. If I had any. Okay. So let's continue in his post, because his post is about blasphemy in the atheist movement. Which this is another common tactic that I don't like seeing people engage in, and this is where atheists will accuse other atheists of engaging in what they consider to be religious behavior. Newsflash.
All religious behavior bad.
Newsflash, it's not. And you can stretch the definition of religious behavior so much that it doesn't even have meaning. Like, if you say ritual bad, then getting up and taking a poop is now bad.
Is that the genetic fallacy?
Is it the genetic fallacy? Basing whether...
It's like trying to be the genetic fallacy. It's also making it really broad.
It's weird. It's more of a hasty generalization, I think.
I think that's fair.
What he says now is, I could have said religion
I was just
is
talking about the genetic fallacy with a friend all morning today.
Said religion is a frozen, progress-resistant, and regressive relic that begins in the archive of humanity, or that belongs in the archive of humanity of bad ideas. This would have made the same point, but I chose to go with the more efficient choice of wording.
Efficient.
Okay, so
how efficient was it if it got you in all this trouble?
Yeah, it's not. Sorry, this was not efficient. Here's the thing with the word.
There's also a thing about he's pretending to say that he wasn't meaning it as a slur, as a shorthand insult.
Yeah, he was
which is bullshit.
I'm sorry, when I look at the tweet, this is like the EOT thing, the please do the world a favor and exit it type of deal. Where
right.
Like, you need to take responsibility for how you worded a thing. If it can be seen so easily as
that's the key point,
as the thing you didn't mean, if it can be, regardless of what you intended, if it can seem so easily to mean something else, then at that point maybe you should go, oh yeah, no, that was a bad on me. I didn't mean it that way. I am sorry. And once you do that, once you go, hey, I didn't mean it that way, that was a bad on my part, I accept that, then you can engage in conversations starting with that apology, and you likely won't have the same fucking blowback effect. But as we've seen in the past, this is not what happens generally. So, if you were to say religion is a frozen, progress-resistant, and regressive relic, you could have just said it's a regressive relic. Like, if you really needed efficiency, if that is what you needed, just say it's a regressive relic. And you can. It's easy to fucking defend that position as well.
Yeah, it would be something that I'd still disagree with it, but it wouldn't have the baggage.
Yes,
and nobody would freak out about it in the same way that they did about what he did say. So, yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
All right.
So we are going to Move on. It says, my use of the word the R slur was benign in this context, yet it was quickly seized upon by many atheists who thought it unbecoming of an executive director of an international atheist organization to use this word at all. Let me start by saying I do not apologize for using this word in the way in which I used it, because religion is an R slur relic that needs archiving in humanity's library of bad ideas. So this is called doubling down.
Didn't he eventually apologize?
Not that I'm aware of, but then again, his
apology to somebody.
His apology was to Caitlin Chloe, and it was for his use of the C word.
Oh, right. Because his response to Caitlin Chloe saying something was to just like freak out on her. is like, what? Why'd you do that?
So.
But he didn't just do it once either. It was like 4 or 5 tweets.
So he goes on to say several atheists seem to have seen this word and been automatically triggered by their own limited interpretations of my correct use of this word. This is now what we call victim blaming. Anybody who was negatively affected by your speech, they are the ones who are in trouble for how your speech was received. As opposed to you being responsible for your own damn actions, it is everyone else who is responsible for viewing it that way, for taking the uncharitable approach. Also, we have another piece of fan art, and they have chosen blue, which means we are sticking with the color we are right now, because having a red background and then having a blue cover does this weird thing where it makes everything purple. So,
purple.
It's purple. That tasted purple. So we're going to pop this one down here. Also, just want to throw out that this fan art is Ocean, me writing Ocean with Ocean going, why do you drag me into this?
That's accurate.
Which I feel describes our relationship very well.
It does. In fact.
He goes, even after explaining my particular use of the word, some of these irrational atheists were determined to imagine themselves mind readers and told me how I truly intended to use this word. So, while this may be true, there might be some people who legitimately went, no, you meant this as stupid. You know you meant this to mean stupid.
That's my position.
And
I think it's ridiculous to say that he was like, no, I meant it in a technical way. No.
And I agree. I think that it is much more reasonable to assume that he meant the common colloquial usage of the word, which has basically just been synonymous with stupid for decades now, like at least 2 decades. So I see that point. That's probably where I would imagine he meant it as well. But when he uses this defense, he goes, aha, do you think you are a mind reader? Do you think you could possibly know what I was thinking? It doesn't matter, because, again, you pointed out that this is unbecoming of an executive director of an international atheist organization. Regardless of your intent, this is one of the reasons why I want to make a video on morality. When we look at an action, the best thing to do is not look at the intent of the action and go, aha, it was morally pure. No, and it's also not good to look at the action and go, aha, the consequences were all that mattered. You do a combination of the two. You look at the intention of the action, or the likely intention of the action, and then the consequences of the action, and then marry them together to determine the morality of the action, or at least on what part of the scale you would put it. Here, we have a clear example of somebody who doesn't care about the consequences of the action, seems to think only the intention is the part that matters. Period. I disagree. Even if I grant that you meant what you said, that you were just trying to use this to mean regressive, basically, that still doesn't excuse the use of the language, because the language has connotations that expand way past your purview. And it costs you nothing. Like, it literally costs you nothing to just use a different word. But it marginalizes other people when you choose to use those words. We got a $10 donation from Zalrock Chaos. David Silverman, Michael Lance, and other atheist figureheads always seem to be very bigoted towards minorities. That's a thing we're going to get into a little bit here in a sec. Also, I need to make sure, because this browser that I'm looking at this through is also where my timer is, so I need to have a different timer up. So, we continue down. Religion is a regressive social and psychological institution born out of fear and human ignorance. It has hijacked the notion of human morality and enforced orthodoxy upon humanity to further its own science-infringing, human rights abusing, civil rights abusing, and progress impeding agenda since time immemorial. Okay. Ocean.
All religion is theocratic Islam.
Yeah, that's basically what that... It's either all religion is theocratic Islam or all religion is hyper fundamentalism Christianity. Like, right. That's what this reads to me. Which is a straw man. It is a hasty generalization. Yes, the majority of world religions right now, the ones that hold majority power, are abusive. Yeah, I can agree with that. Easily. I can look at Middle Eastern countries, I can look at what's gone on in the States with our education system, and literally go, yeah, no, that makes fucking sense. But that is not all religion. It's not. And if you try to argue that it is, you're going to find yourself committing this fallacy over and over again, and tripping over a fucking bucket.
Okay, there's ways to make this criticism, so I've seen this over and over where people are like, well, here are my criticisms of religion. And then all the criticisms are basically extreme forms of the Abrahamic faiths, like extreme forms of them. Mm-hmm. And we bring this up and it's like, oh, okay. Their complaints are about this subset of religion that coincidentally, not necessarily coincidentally, but just through cultural exposure, is the most common exposure to religion. Is that you get an exposure to a certain set of Abrahamic beliefs, of Abrahamic faiths, and that becomes, oh, this is what religion is, right?
Which is not always the case.
Well, it's not even, it's because you can hashtag not all, right? But and there's something to be said for that this is a common experience with religion, and I can accept that. I can be like, okay, cool, yes, understand that. However, when you make all-encompassing statements such as religion is, you wind up creating this basket, especially with in a world, which is the world that we live in, that has several minority faiths that have the similar dynamics of oppression that atheists do, similar elements to closeting that atheists do. You wind up shooting your allies,
which is weird because there's a historic thing that I believe you're aware of, why the term atheist was broadened in the first place.
Are you talking about with Silverman's approach,
where the
political
whole
atheism essentially?
Yes. Why that got... So, for those who don't know, a fun history lesson, one of the reasons why the colloquial usage of atheism has been so thoroughly broadened over the last few decades...
It's David Silverman, an American atheist.
Yeah, David Silverman, an American atheist, put forward the idea of atheism being a lack of belief, and that being the version of atheism that should be defended under all circumstances because
it's the biggest umbrella.
Yeah, because by making it the biggest umbrella, you can have more political allies for an organization, which is incredibly helpful for the propagation of any organization, especially if you are wanting that organization to do any amount of good in the world. Now, here's the thing. I don't necessarily think that's a bad approach. I don't. But it is very strange to me.
Politically, it makes sense.
Yeah, politically it makes sense to me, but it is very strange to me. For any organization to accept that political usage of atheism for the purposes of broadening allyship, to have more people, for the organization to function better, and then also shoot so many potential allies in the leg. It seems really weird to me. It doesn't seem like this is... It's not necessarily a proper decorum thing. this just is one of those things that makes that pragmatist part of my brain light up and go, holy shit, why?
Right.
Why? Also, want to do super chats real quick?
Also, I think that you're more familiar than a lot of people in the atheist movement are about what kind of productive alliance can come from teaming up with polytheists, pagans, and other, like just honestly other religions that have the similar interests and similar goals. Like coalition building is something that is important. And if you can, like I call it grith, of having a mutual respect between people that may not have all the same goals, but have enough same goals that you can say, hey, let's work together on these things. That forming that grith can be productive in many instances. This is, and the resistance that I see to it is the reason why I say it's not with, we can't necessarily form grith with atheists generally, but we can with individuals. And you've seen like the good exchange that comes out of that. Our audience are intermingled. You know, our friend groups are intermingled, and it's because we find respect with each other. So, and we're not willing to throw each other under the fucking bus for the sake of whatever goal.
I want my atheist community brownie points for owning the silly polytheist, so I'm going to just dunk on him. Right. And that happens from time to time, where you get some sword slinger that tries to go, and then it's, I don't know, it's dumb. It's fucking dumb. Also, we have the new color up is green. Let us see how the green turned out. The green actually came out. The green does not mix with red in the same way. We actually got a green out of it.
Oh yeah.
So we are now on 5 minutes of green.
Oh, there it is. It's green. It's green as fuck.
Yep.
Holy shit, green. And lots of yellow. But anywho, you know, it's the friendly fire element that happens with criticizing religion in this way is a little frustrating. I wish it's a really easy clarification to make, and that's one of the reasons why I get so frustrated with it, is that it's not only is it easy, but it's extremely helpful. So the cost benefit analysis of amending language around criticism of religion to criticizing what religion you're actually criticizing is important and easy and profitable and helpful.
Yeah.
And fuck.
Because you can, if you look at it, so like talk to any pagan, right? Any polytheist, for the most part. There are a few that will not hold this. I actually know. Fun story. I'm not going to say this person's name, but I have one friend from childhood who I found out is not only a Christio pagan, but is also very fucking stupidly conservative, and just like retweets Ben Shapiro and all kinds of shit all the time without using his brain. So
Not the person you were talking to me about earlier.
No, it's not, because that person is AFA. No, I keep on realizing that I am in a somewhat unique position where like I grew up with pagans in some variety. So like as an adult, I didn't have any of these misconceptions. Right.
It's just like, oh yeah.
That said, Sai Sankara, what do you for $5? What do you think about Prionicus? I think it's scary as frick. So I do not know if I would consider it scary as frick. The size looks like bad, but it also looks like just an alligator platypus, which like could be a neat pet. So maybe not super scary. That said, you do need to choose a color, Sai, because that is a $5 donation. So after this one, you will be in control of the color of the stream. So pick a color. Woo.
Do it.
Same with you, Chris H. I need you to pick a color. $5 saying Senpai is here. So, pop up the thing again to continue on. This is where he starts bringing up all the different examples of the Arcelor in the Oxford Dictionary. Basically, he's using an etymological fallacy to ignore the social implications of that word. He said it can also be used as an outdated slur Well, how is it an outdated slur, though?
It's still a slur.
It's still used as a slur today. How is it outdated? I don't...
It's even become a slur within the past 50 years or so.
Like,
how's it? What is the? Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't understand. I think that it said magenta. Okay, that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out on here. But
People being creative. You got 5 choices: primary colors, and a couple others.
I can grab any color at all. Like,
okay.
I have full control over the hex code for the colors.
Oh, well, that's fun.
Because I'm not using the room lighting, because I figure that actually changing the stream aesthetic it looks a little better.
It's so funny having you change the light on your...
Like, I can...
You would just freak out about it.
Like, here we go again, guys.
I can change the color on my light too. Do you want this color or more this color?
Do I want white ocean, or do I want orange man
Whiter
bad ocean?
Or do I want, I don't know, orange?
Orange
Not
man
orange.
bad ocean. We'll take that one.
There we go.
So anyway,
Include the hex code of the color you want. Yeah, there you go.
Include the hex code of the color you want.
All super chats need to have a hex code.
Oh dear God. Oh dear.
Anyway,
God. For those who don't,
continuing on.
For those who don't know, the actual hex code for magenta is this.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
So, continuing on, he goes into the blasphemy in the atheist movement. The actual title of his thing he gets into halfway through his post. You know, good organization.
Oh my God!
What a build-up! I have a feeling that I would have gotten in trouble had I gone to college for doing that. But, so there appears to be a growing militia of morality police in what might loosely be described as the atheist community. This is a small yet vocal handful of self-righteous and self-appointed conformity crusaders on a jihad for puritanical purity among atheists, who see it as their moral duty to cleanse the atheist movement of its heretics. The heretics...
This is a weird way of putting it. If
this is religiously loaded language.
I get frustrated with purity culture people like that usually, you know, when you get into like cancel culture and that kind of stuff, you do wind up with people that have like a purity culture kind of approach, right?
Yeah, and I can agree that that's a problem.
Right,
but
absolutely.
That's not what this is.
No. It's It's like, okay, you made a bad statement. You know, please don't do that. And I think that like Casey, myself, others, people that criticized the situation would have been completely appeased by, oh, sorry, I fucked up, won't do it again. Let me delete that and put out something else, because yeah, I see your point.
Yeah, let me just reword that tweet real quick.
Right.
Boom.
If he'd done that, would have been fine. But he didn't.
We are now very magenta. This looks like a T-Mobile store now. The stream looks like a T-Mobile store. Perfect.
Oh my God.
Hi there, welcome to T-Mobile.
Is that magenta or hot neon pink?
That is magenta, but it is filtered through our background. This is what it is without the background behind it. And this is what it is with the background behind it. So,
I'm waiting for it to update on my end. Oh. Is that what magenta looks like?
Yes.
I thought magenta was a deeper red. Anyway. Hot pink is what you mean.
So, we'll continue going into the post. The heretics are the atheists they perceive as being imperfections. Oh.
Puritanical purity.
Maybe he should get an editor.
That's an alliteration that is simply redundant.
The heretics are the atheists they perceive as being imperfections.
Oh, hold on a second. He says jihad. Crusaders on a jihad. First off, what? Second, there's more of this association of religious behavior with atheists.
Yes, that's what he's doing.
And I understand that I'm not an atheist. I was commenting on this, but whatever. Most of the people that were in that are atheists. So I do notice that David Silverman refuses to respond to my tweets, though.
Do you wonder why? Also, we have
I'm better at
Zalrock art.
this kind of exchange than he is, maybe. But yeah, he avoids me like the fucking plague.
He responded to me, which my take on this was, hey, as it turns out, we can both do good in the world and also ask our own to be better. And to which he fucking flipped on that, because why not? But to continue on this, I'm sorry.
How dare you fight for a good world?
I'm hung up on this shit. And impurities within the desired orthodoxy they crave for the atheist community at large. Sadly, these atheist crusaders generally belong to the political left. And I've sadly, because I share the large bulk of their social and political values. And I say sadly because I share the bulk of their social and political values. I do not, however, share their imam-like zealotry
keeps doing this.
for enforcing informal blasphemy laws on a diverse array of atheists who do not share their personal beliefs, values, and opinions. So, okay, I need to fucking talk about this for a sec. This is what happens when you are an idiot and put your atheism first before anything else. When the most important thing about you is your atheism, which is, I'm sorry, probably the least interesting thing about you.
Atheism is a personality, Cyrus.
Apparently,
It's a personality.
If atheism were a personality, it would look just like David Silverman, I guess.
Sure.
Like, this is what happens when you put atheism as your first and foremost personality trait. This is the most important thing about you. And then you go, but even though they share their atheism, they don't share their politics. I'm going to let you know right now, I don't give a fuck if you're an atheist. I don't. I sincerely don't. If you have bad reasons for believing in a god, I will deconstruct them, because that is what I do, because I want people to be logically consistent. That's why if you have shit like the Problem of Evil video that I did on Monday, where somebody's like, the atheist can't even consider the problem of evil because evil doesn't exist in their framework. You say dumb fucking shit like that, yeah, I'm going to call you out, I'm going to knock your argument down, and I'm going to curb stomp it in the ground and enjoy looking at the broken teeth shards. But that does not suddenly mean that atheism is fucking important. It's not. It's really not. If you are an atheist, cool. We agree there, that one area that is like fairly vapid. If you're not an atheist, I might have a conversation with you as to why, but do I think that ultimately it matters too terribly much? No, not unless whatever god you believe in is instructing you to do some heinous crime.
Like Hex the Moon.
Like Hex the Moon. Oh my god. That fucking thread. That thread is a giant meme.
Funny thing about that thread, it didn't happen.
The thread was a meme.
Right, the thread, but it's referencing Witch Talk. It was like 4 people.
These 4 people decided to do a magic, and regardless of the fact that doing a magic will not actually affect anything at all, let me do this giant tweet thread, and everybody's gonna freak out about it because, oh my god, what the fuck's happening with the
doing
moon?
a magic on the moon, no less, and it was very strange.
You're not Skull Kid. I'm sorry. You can't Majora's.
Gods.
You can't,
okay, I was like, what are you talking? Oh, right.
You can't Majora's Mask the world just because 2020
And if
sucks.
you do, I will call forward the dwarves of the cardinal directions to stop it from happening.
They will protect you. They will.
Yes.
And then we will need to get a fierce deity to protect us. Right?
Anyway,
we need the next color. Because I did not get a color from Chrissy, I believe. So I need that color. So if you can give me your color, actually no, I'm gonna make certain this works. Color, please. Color, please. Okay, continuing on. If you believe that causing offense is the criteria by which atheists should judge one another as impure, then it is a bold hypocrisy when any of these virtue police say something critical of religion, because the majority of our species still believe that criticizing religion is a deviant and indecent form of behavior. Well, we agree that criticizing religion is important. That's my agreement with Michael here. Says
Mine too.
Says purple.
There's people like there's this thing. And people will try and say it's like, oh, Ocean doesn't think you should criticize religion. It's not fucking true.
You've debated
like,
people on their own religions.
Yes, and including pagans. So, this concept of no, religion is above criticism is it's not my position anyway. Like if somebody holds, I'm sure there's people that hold that, but it's not me. And, you know, if he's trying to say, like, yeah, religion should be criticized, or you can criticize religion very easily. And in many cases, incredibly easily. And those criticisms should be put forward. I think that the criticism of pretty much any idea should be allowed, even if you can try to establish that the idea is like objectively true, it should still be open to criticism.
We are now in purple, and purple with the red actually makes a pretty pleasing color, all things considered.
Anyway, what does he go on? He goes on.
Yes, this continues for 3 more paragraphs.
Oh my fuck.
So here's the thing, though. This is a strange deflection compared to what is happening here. Because
what's weird is he say religion should be able to be criticized, but don't criticize me.
Yeah, basically.
That's ultimately what this article is trying to say.
The thing that I wanted to point out, though, is when I look at this article, the thing that speaks to me the most, not like speaks to me in a good way, but like speaks to me as I look at this and go, oh, that's what you're doing. Is they say in here, the other see these offenses as bad and then criticize me for it and they go, their goal is to police these perceived offenses. Well, no, it seems to me that the actual issue is that your goal yourself is to cause offense. Your goal is
not
to
only
offend
that,
people.
but his goal is to police religion. He too has blasphemies that he preaches about.
And yet,
it's a little like being a hypocrite doesn't make you wrong necessarily, but he's being a hypocrite here. If you go through the stuff that he's talking about with like, this is what I criticize religion about, and so on and such, as lists all these things. And it's like, yeah, all right, cool. Those are your blasphemies. But and you want to police those things.
Like if he wants
now, is it a reasonable criticism then, therefore, to say you want a puritanical world because you're fighting against these, like, you know, many of which legitimate grievances? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Just because somebody has a legitimate grievance against something that you said or that you're doing does not mean that they are necessarily fighting for a puritanical world or some shit. It's offering a criticism, just as he is offering a criticism.
But it's bad when it happens to him.
Right. Don't criticize me. That's what he's saying. That's the point of that blog post.
So, the end result of all of that silliness is that he got suspended for 1 month without pay from his organization, and is also received a warning. Basically, hey, don't fucking do shit like this, and if you do, then you will make certain that you're not going to be part of this organization anymore. Which is fair. That's literally just the org going, hey, don't be a fuck up and you'll be fine. Like, that seems like standard practice for any job. Which tells me, I'm gonna do a reductionist thing real quick for shits and giggles real quick. It tells me that your actual enemy here probably should be capitalism, because they're looking at you and going, yeah, you're a replaceable worker. Sorry, no, I'm not gonna actually do that. I'm not gonna do that one this time.
Put the bread down.
No.
The bread, Cirrus.
Said no buffering allowed. Why are we buffering? Why are we having to buffer?
My internet completely dropped a second ago.
So is everybody.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I just went.
Bread. Yes, bread. The bread. It continues. This is like
bread in the chat.
It's like if
Cirrus either needs to pick it up, put it down, or stop.
What? I'm so sorry. I'm just going to continue that point then. If we're already here, fucking if he desperately wants to keep his job so much, then I think a good labor union could help him. That's all I'm saying. A good labor union could help here. It's just all bread emojis.
I want to see nothing but bread.
Nothing but bread
and fire.
We need bread and fire so we can bake it and toast it and turn it into delicious crunchiness.
You're making me hungry.
I am already very hungry. Let's go on to more of this is why I believe that the purpose that Michael is trying to engage in is not necessarily to help people, even though he does do that apparently. The thing that I think he's here to do a lot, especially on the internet, is just to cause offense, and here's one of the other reasons why. I always convert to Islam before I slap bitches and abuse whores. That way, most Western feminists say nothing and just throw me loving smiles.
Yeah, that's
really.
That's a good statement that comes from an executive director of an organization.
This is the kind of statement that makes everything better. This is how we.
This is if you're
this is doing a normal
and you want to lead an organization, just delete your Twitter, start a new one. It's just like it's easy.
Like, is this the are these the hills you want to die on? Is this the stuff that you like? How do you defend a statement like that?
Must die on hill.
And like, I get that is a 4-year-old tweet. Maybe he's changed his position since then, but I kind of doubt it, considering that
it's an edgy joke. So
and he's still doing the edgy jokes now,
right? And he's still doing the edgy jokes. So if you asked him, it's like, yeah, do you stand by this? Probably isn't the right question. It's, can you take this down? And if he's like, no, it's funny. That's the kind of question you would be.
Like, I can see the humor in it, but is this a thing that I would post as a leader of an organization? No.
Somebody was talking to me about I remember seeing something about a diagram of the difference between humor and comedy. The humor, I may have this wrong, but the humor is what your audience finds funny and laughs at, and comedy is like the objective thing. It's like many things that are comedy, but not everything is humor. The humor is subjective, comedy is objective, or something like that. It was an interesting dichotomy, and I may have it reversed, but it was an interesting discussion. But under that nomenclature, I'd say, sure, okay, I can see why you're trying to say this is comedy, but it ain't humor as far as I'm concerned. Anywho, but yeah, it's like, okay, cool. I see what you're trying to do. Didn't land. Yeah. And sometimes jokes don't land, right?
Yeah. Sometimes that just happens. But so here's the thing about jokes on the internet, and it's why you should probably sanitize some of your jokes on the internet. Here's why. And this is something that any comedian will fucking tell you. Right. I have books over here on this. I literally, I when I was working at QT, I had a guy who was like, he came in all the time, we had conversations, and he was like, hey, you might actually be pretty good at stand-up. I would not be good at stand-up. But
Orange, by the way.
He said, Orange? Okay, cool. Orange stream back. He said, you might be good at stand-up, I have some things for you. And he came in, he brought me 4 fucking books on how to be a stand-up comedian and just gave them to me. And I'm just like, what? So, one of the important things about stand-up comedy is being able to read the room. This is not just a thing in stand-up comedy. This is a thing in public speaking in general. But it's very important for stand-up comedy.
It applies specifically to comedy if you're going to be making jokes.
Yes.
You got to read the room. Sometimes jokes ain't going to work.
Don't call COVID-19 the boomer remover if everybody in your audience is 60 plus.
Right. And the thing about Twitter is your audience is everybody.
It's impossible to read the room on Twitter.
Right.
Which you might say, well, that's a good argument for not reading the room at all. How am I possibly supposed to? No, that's not how this fucking works. Because many YouTubers who engage in comedy on the internet can tell you that it's easy to look at a joke and go, okay, if this joke does not land, what is the worst way it could be interpreted?
Right.
And then from that point go, okay, is this a safe joke to throw on the internet? For instance, if I take somebody who looks at
the James Gunn tweets that didn't age well, right? You know, the fucking there's been several times in which is when they made the joke and then it comes back several years later and that kind of thing. It's like there was an era of comedy in which this kind of edgy bullshit was tolerated.
Yeah.
And then we're in now where it's less tolerated. So, you might want to clean yourself up a bit.
Humanity. If you want humanity to move forward, then maybe it would behoove you to move forward with it.
Right.
Probably a good idea.
But no, it's he's gonna frame it as blasphemy. He's not gonna understand the subtleties of what we're talking about. So. And
I do. No. There's a point that Chrissy makes in the chat. The problem with the joke is that there is no interpretive metric by which it is not Islamophobic, which is true. There's no.
True.
If you are a Muslim and you hear this joke, there's not a point where you go, "Ah, yeah, that is funny." No. This is the difference between if you're a black comedian and
he's making it's. From his perspective, the fact that it's at the expense of a religion is the punchline.
That is the joke to him.
Right.
Yes. But it's not the same thing as if you're a black comedian and you make a joke about some nuance in black culture, some joke about watermelon or something that people see as a stereotype, and by punching yourself with that joke, it might be considered funny, and there might be people in your audience that look at that and go, yeah, that is also funny, because there's a metric where you can hit where, yeah, there might be some self-awareness of the silliness of the stereotype, and that can make this funny. That doesn't work here. That metric doesn't exist here.
Right.
You have to assume... It's like the thing that happened with Sargon of Akkad when he tried to argue that I forget which joke he made.
I know what you're talking about. I don't think we need to go through it. But
yeah. The comedian he referenced as his inspiration for the joke dissected his own humor and said, no, this actually can't be considered funny.
Yeah.
This doesn't work. And I don't know how many times I have to say that if you are the leader of an organization, this doubly doesn't work. Because it starts out not working when you just don't know how to read a room, the entire fucking world. And it concludes with, oh, wait a minute, I am also a representative of a large organization that is affiliated with the United Nations. That includes some Islamic countries that... Oh, I may have made some mistakes here. This is basically engaging on the level of Donald Trump. Doing the shithole country thing.
That's popular now. Fucking Donald Trump did change the culture when it comes to the effectiveness of edgy jokes on the right.
Mm-hmm.
There was a culture that was you know as well as I that that was a culture that was already existing.
Yes.
But Trump caused it to blow up. It went out, it escaped its bubble as soon as he was elected. And arguably it escaped its bubble in the middle of the campaign.
Yeah.
But it got out, and then you see a certain subsection of like even what is considered the international left community, whatever. It's there. You do wind up with a lot of those kind of things that wind up like squeezing their way in there, and getting into this edgy comedy sort of approach that
and it
lands very well with a certain demographic.
And it doesn't mean don't have edgy comedy. Like, you can still have edgy comedy. Just use your brain.
But also read the room. You know, like I make the edgy joke every now and again as well, but I just, you try to read the room. And sometimes I read the room wrong, and then I just apologize.
Would you like a good?
You don't mean harm by making the joke generally.
Would you like?
But I think in his case here, I think he was meaning harm.
Would you like a good example of reading the room improperly?
I should I just cringe first, or what?
It's already on screen.
Oh,
this one.
I sent you that one.
From Armin, who, again, a person who does a lot of good, but lately has apparently been just...
Lately? If you mean lately by the past 2 or 3 years, then sure. But...
I'm just talking about, like, in regards to BLM, this is where I've been seeing a lot of this. Where, like,
he definitely, like, peeked his head up.
He peeked his head up at a movement about racial inequality and went, I can be a shitbag. Let's do it.
Yeah. He's done a number of yikesy comments on BLM. But in this particular one, he's also was like parodying like kind of rad left stuff in the comments on this one, where someone would ask him kind of what he means by that, and he'd go like, how dare you as a white person?
How dare you ask me? I'm a person of color. You're not allowed to criticize me. That whole I tweeted at him on that one and just went, dude, is this what atheist activism has become? Just like playing the victim card in a desperate attempt to prove a point?
Right.
Is that where we are? Because, like, if that's what we're gonna do, I don't want any part of that.
So Armin Navabi, I think he's a founder of Atheist Republic, isn't he? He's not the leader of it or CEO anymore, but he's very heavily associated with them. But it's like his thing. He's kind of like in control. But it's the Twitter account for Atheist Republic is known for their series of memes. It's basically a atheist meme trash bin, and you just scroll through and you can be like, oh, okay, yeah, you guys are taking this a little weird, but
a little
okay.
far.
Some atheists love it. It's a thing.
I can see some of the jokes and go, yeah, that's funny, haha. But a lot of them just end up being the same level of, let's go ahead and strawman religion as a whole instead of.
It's a trend among these groups. Like,
I don't get it. I say I don't get it. I actually do understand it. I want to say I don't get it. I want to be the God damn it, I'm parodying exactly what I'm saying in the video that's releasing tomorrow. I want to say I don't get it. I want to say I don't understand. But unfortunately I do.
But unfortunately I do, yeah.
And that's kind of the problem.
Why do I understand this?
I understand how it is.
It's the angry atheist phase. It's basically a meme page for the angry atheist phase.
It is perpetual angry atheist phase.
Right. And it seems that Armin never got out of the angry atheist phase. It just seems that way. Like from the stuff that I've seen of him, and I've been fairly familiar with him over the course of Red. By the way, I've been fairly familiar with him over the course of a couple of years now, and more than that. And it's always been like, so. Bread alert. Command and Conquer, bread alert.
Legacy of... Is there a bread that rhymes with Cain?
Dude, no. All right. Twitch stream. I want to do a Twitch stream where I play as the Russians. Command and Conquer, bread alert.
Can we do a Twitch stream where we both play General 0 Hour against each other?
No, because I'm terrible at that one.
But...
I'll just die.
I
also don't have it.
It's like $5 on Steam.
No.
I will send you the $5 Ocean.
You got a chance.
When I get a chance.
Yeah. If you send me the $5, I might buy it.
Okay. I want to have like just a Twitch battle where it's just like we're both streaming, both on opposite ends. Like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Why does there no fucking general in the United States Army that can use?
We should do
fucking
StarCraft
tanks?
instead because it's free.
Yeah, but I'm really fucking bad at StarCraft.
I'm really bad at fucking 0 Hour.
Hmm.
But it's free.
I
I'm
do
also
like free.
bad at StarCraft, just so you know. Like I'm not like I love StarCraft, but I am very anyway. We'll talk about this later.
We'll talk about this later.
We're talking about Armin of Robbie right now.
Are you sure we are?
I thought we are.
So here's another display of what's been going on that's really agitating. So apparently with Michael Sherlock getting attacked, more like just criticized as a public figure, which is what fucking happens to you as a public figure, I'm sorry. With this happening to him, he goes, "Sorry to all the people I'm personally helping right now. Casey Gleason says, fuck you. Best of luck." So wait a minute. Hold on. Are you telling me... Because apparently, right now, he was in the middle of helping 5 to 6 ex-Muslims out of a country, and this has impeded that somehow. So my question is this. If you are Growlithe, and you are barking constantly... Growlithe, can I ask you to stop? If you are an organization and you are dedicated to helping people here, how does people criticize you on Twitter suddenly stop you from being able to do your job? How?
Work.
Yes.
So this was the thing that I harped about. Do you have the screenshot from me?
Not the one from you.
Okay. So I harped about this. Hold on a second. Because it was, is this the one where he says that, let's see. Yeah, he helps save lives. Yeah, basically there's a, she's arguing there's a point where.
I haven't shown this one yet.
Oh.
This is queued up.
Okay. Well, I'll talk about it when you show it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was wanting you to talk about your tweet.
Oh, mine. Well, mine's after that. Mine's in a follow-up. Mine's about a follow-up tweet.
Okay. Then,
yeah.
Boom. So, Hemet Meta responded to this as well. This whole ordeal, showing a lot of the tweets from Michael Sherlock going, okay, is this really the behavior that we should be doing in? Because these tweets aren't helping either. I don't know why people are so eagerly defending him in my mentions, but this sort of edgelord attitude from the head of Atheist Alliance just makes me cringe, which is kind of the position that I take as well. Like, really, what is the point of being edgy as fuck here? Also, speaking of being edgy, as soon as I said what is the point of being edgy as fuck, my background changed, and Ocean can see it on his screen. As soon as I say that.
Get that edgy shit.
But then Yasmin Muhammad responds with, "Meanwhile, Sherlock Michael in his role at Atheist Alliance has helped countless ex-Muslims. He literally saves lives. What have you done other than attack people who criticize Islam? Do you attack people who criticize Christianity? One of you is a true humanist, and it's not you." So, first of all, we have the No True Scotsman, which is beautiful. 10 out of 10. I love that fallacy. One of my favorite. Secondly, are you not familiar with the journalistic work of Hemet Meta at all to say something stupid like that?
So yeah, the guy is like, it's hard for like in the atheist community that's full of like YouTubers and stuff like that, for a blogger to remain as relevant as Hemet Meta has. Yeah, like that's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's not fucking easy.
The only blogger
But
who's been
he is-
relevant in the atheist community for a while now has been biblical gender roles, and not for the good reasons.
Right. But Hemet Meta has been like on point with a lot of his posts. and has remained relevant in the atheist community as a result. Like, good on you, dude. Like this, but more. And then Yasmin Muhammad comes in and says, "What have you done?"
It's like, what has he done? Well, let's see. He established a secular student group, the Student Without Religions organization at the University of Illinois in Chicago. He interned at the Center for Inquiry. Blah, blah, blah. He's a regular speaker at the Free Thought at regular Free Thought and Skeptical events, which, you know, activism, advocism, those are all important things. He's been invited to speak at many events like Reason Rally or at the American Atheist Annual Convention. Let's see here. I'm literally just... all this is available on fucking Wikipedia. I'm just on Wikipedia. That's all I'm doing. I'm just on Wikipedia. Like, he's talked on Collins for, like, the fucking Washington Post. Like, he's been doing shit. It is not...
His thing is also, like, it's kind of about softening the image of atheism into something that... like, honestly, what he's been trying to do in his goals, these guys that we're showing tweets of are running counter to what his goal is. You know? Like, his goal seems to be like, you know, hey, we, like, atheism
is
all,
palpable.
Like,
it's digestible.
Right. You don't have to be this kind of image that a lot of people have about atheists in order to be an atheist. So when you have atheists that are, you know, screaming in the way that these guys are, it counteracts what he's doing, that he's been doing effectively as well. So
it's
you know,
like,
it's not helpful.
It's like saying, if there's one United States Marine who went into a foreign country and rescued one family, this United States Marine is now infinitely more important than the public speaker who has engaged and changed the Overton window such that more families do not require the Marine to come save them.
Right.
The Marine is suddenly more important. Like, stopping the problem after it's happened is suddenly more important to people like this than the preventative measures of this problem that are helped by public speaking and public activism. This is just the fucking police conversation. That's all this is. This is the police conversation again. It's better to keep your law enforcement than change everything around that makes them necessary in the first place. Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful how this all ties together? I hate life. I really do.
I generally hate life.
Humanity fucking blows. Oh my god.
Anywho. So her next tweet.
Let me see.
Because this is where we get into the accusations that she makes.
Yep. So.
Yeah.
Pop up. So Seth Andrews comes in. I like Seth.
This is after this I come in.
I've been on Seth's show talking about polyamory before, and me and Ocean have both met him in person. He's actually a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he's a chill dude.
But he goes, I'm glad.
Voice that fucker.
His voice can change the sexuality of the listener. It can. But Ocean doesn't want to respond to that because he knows it's true.
No, I was turning a little gay listening to him. It's totally true.
He goes, I'm glad to be a friend in fan, Yas, but Hemet Meta is good people with a long track record of level-headed, thoughtful, humanistic work. He, like me, thinks that the R slur and the C word are hugely problematic, and ultimately AAI agreed. There's a path forward. Let's find it. I think that's a reasonable take.
Right. So here, so you guys know, AAI, the organization that hired and fired David Silverman, that employs John Richards, and you know, so on and such as, put a suspension on Michael Sherlock for his usage of the R slur. Okay, your own fucking organization held an investigation and then put you on suspension for 1 month. 1 month, right?
Yeah.
It's not a month. It's not a lot. 1 month, and all of a sudden, everything's on fire for him, and we have to speak out against. But the AAI is the one that offered the suspension. Nobody asked
called
for him
it.
To be suspended.
Nobody
no one asked for it. That was something AAI did on their own. But everybody is being like, who is to blame for the action that AAI decided to issue the suspension for? The suspension was because Michael Sherlock used the R slur. Now, who's at fault for that?
Michael.
Right.
It wasn't just for his usage of it in the public forum. It was also the cavalcade of attack on Casey Gleason afterwards.
Sure.
Which again
whose fault is that?
He had every ability to not do that. But continuing on, Yasmin responds with, "No, he's not. You'll remember he attacked me for once retweeting an excellent video on hijab by Paul Joseph Watson because it was right-wing adjacent." It's not right-wing adjacent. Dude's a fucking fascio.
He is employed by the same company as Alex Jones, just so you guys know.
Meanwhile, he goes on Fox, and he has a track record of attacking those who criticize Islam but will bleat endlessly about Christianity. So there's a difference here.
Right.
Going on Fox,
there's a difference between InfoWars and
going on Fox. So while InfoWars and Fox News are both fake news, they got a proven track record of fake news. Regardless of that fact, going on Fox and conversing with the enemy, as it were, like that's basically what you're doing there, going into the lion's den, is different than retweeting one of their videos and going, "Excellent work! 10 out of 10! I loved it! It was good! Ooh!" Those are two fucking different things!
Did you just clap like a seal? He's doing it again.
Yes.
Well, that sealed the deal.
We were talking about blunt objects before. Have you heard of the seal?
Seal of approval.
You've just sealed your fate. Zalrock for the $5. Zalart is okay. I don't know. I'm always doubting myself. Zalart is perfectly fine. He is a chaos hammer. That said, you have donated again. So, Zal, what color? What color are we now? I need the color. So, aside from the fact that this doesn't make any goddamn sense, there's a huge difference between parroting Paul Joseph Watson and going on Fox News to try to talk about him. This is the difference between going on the kill stream and trying to fight right-wing people and hosting one of their videos on your channel and going, "They're great guys." If you can't see how those two things are different, I don't know if I can help you. I do not know. But we continue on. I personally don't use that language, but you know as well as I do that if someone called Christianity the R slur or the Pope the C word, he would not be clutching his pears. I think that meant pearls. He's a hypocrite on many levels.
Pears?
Wait,
what's he clutching?
Pearls. But she wrote pears.
Pears. Clutching his pears.
He would.
That's just an interesting image. Pear clutching.
He would apparently not say anything about that. I don't know if that's true, and assuming that that's true kind of undermines your own position a little bit. Like, isn't Michael earlier the one who tried to say that you can't? We were changing to yellow. They said you can't mind read, and you shouldn't try to do that. Isn't that literally just what's being done right here?
Never. Yeah, there's some mind reading happening. I would agree. And so this is while you celebrate a man being canceled. This is the tweet, y'all.
Also, we are now in yellow, which has made us somewhat orange. But, while you celebrate a man being canceled to appease the woke mob because he used words you don't like, I am angry that 6 ex-Muslim people he was helping now have to sit and wait in their dangerous situations for him to get back to helping them. Clearly, our priorities differ. Okay, Ocean, go on your rant. You got things to say here.
I do have things to say, and let me pull them up because I might as well just read what I tweeted.
This is like
because
the
I
first
saw
time we
this.
debated.
I saw this. Nothing offends me more than bad logistics. This is one of the reasons why I left Christianity, is that I think Christianity's process of salvation is bad logistics from a reputedly perfect God. So I let's see. Here we go. Let's scroll through. I've apparently retweeted a few things. All right. I said, I have to know, Atheist Alliance, is your organization set up in a way that is so completely disorganized that disciplining your president, I said, he's the executive director, not the president. I got that wrong. That disciplining your executive director with a slap on the wrist has resulted in people being abandoned? If so, please rectify this logistical nightmare immediately. This testimony from Yaz Muhammad has revealed some of the most absolute incompetence in the organization of Atheist Alliance International. No one has stepped in to do this important work. Is AAI in the practices of abandoning people when their executive director makes irresponsible public comments? So if you're in a dangerous situation and AAI has come to your help, you need to hope that the executive director isn't going to be like making announcements in faux pas language and getting their own organization to suspend him for a month so that he can't help you anymore. Because nobody else handles this except for the executive director, apparently. Bullshit. And in fact, we know that's bullshit because somebody else in the same thread came forward and said, no, there's actually somebody else that handles this work. So she was lying on top of that.
Which means he wasn't going into the thick of things and trying to save the people.
He's not the fucking savior that was being made out to be. Come the fuck on.
Which means, wait a minute. Aren't you calling people out for hypocrisy? Isn't that what you're doing here? Like, what? How hypocritical is it to want people to engage honestly and then fucking lie like that? I just don't understand. So we have this is like the we had Seth Andrews weigh in. Now we have to have Matt Dillahunty weigh in to her comments. Said, "Wow, your ability to speak from ignorance and defend garbage and continue to ruin your own reputation and that of organizations you represent is staggering." I think this one actually is in response to, not to her, but to Shirley, the one who tried to say before that that morality like doesn't exist for atheists or some shit because, you know, that's smart. That it's nice for you to admit though that you don't know what happened, why it was a problem. Okay, so I am a tweet ahead, I believe. Here we are. So we mentioned before that there was more to the Michael Sherlock stuff. It wasn't just him using the R sword. There was also him calling Caitlin Chloe the C word. Shirley Rivera, who was weighing in on this whole thing as well, who is head of which organization again, Ocean?
She is the head of Atheists of Puerto Rico, or Puerto Rico Atheists. I'm not quite sure what the nomenclature is.
So she goes, "I don't know who is her or what is a C word for the context. Funny that only North Americans have C words, N words, F words, or whatever. I'm fairly certain I'm fairly certain that multiple countries have the idea of words that you don't call people. Like that's a pretty common thing in language, where there's just certain words that you do not call another person because they are deemed incredibly insulting. I can't think of a culture that doesn't have that in at least some form or fashion."
Right. Like I'm thinking of a few, and sometimes they're different. Mm-hmm. Sometimes words that are faux pas here are technical terms in other countries. And sometimes words that are technical terms in other countries are completely offensive here.
Yeah, like the C word.
Or no, I mean I said the same thing twice. But sometimes something that is a technical term here can be offensive in another country. Like the C word is normal really in Australia, right?
Whereas here, that's more of a deeply offensive thing.
Yeah, and whereas like offensive slurs, in many places around the world, when they're said here, it can be played for a laugh. But it's, you know, even when it's referencing the offense, which is strange, but you know, it's a thing.
But now Matt Dillahunty weighs in on that particular thing, going, wow, your ability to speak from ignorance, defend garbage, and continue... Wow, I'm seeing some flashes. That's weird. And continue to ruin your reputation and that of organizations you represent is staggering. It's nice of you to admit, though, that you don't know what happened or why it was a problem. Next time, research first. I feel like that's a fair fucking take.
Yeah. Seems like a fair one to me as well.
The response is, you mess with the wrong person. To attack, you show up? I don't see you fighting for the rights of atheists.
Hold on a second. Let me just hold the phone. She's saying that to Matt?
To Matt. To Matt Dillahunty. Does not...
President of the ACA?
Does not fight for the rights of it.
Yeah, what has he ever done for atheism, I guess?
Like, you can have personal grievances with Matt. There can be issues you have with any member of any organization, fine. But to make the blanket statement that they've done...
Yeah, what have you done?
No good at all. What?
I'm trying to figure out where you get there. So, like...
Ignorance. By not researching. That's how. Or actually, wait, no. Apparently, according to Jen in the chat, no, she's fully aware. She's fully aware who this person is. This is just fucking mindless platituding.
Okay.
This is just mindless horse drivel. You tried to manipulate me, but you couldn't, and now you attack me. You try to overshadow everyone who's not on your side and hates your enemies. Don't project yourself. What?
Atheists of Puerto Rico, by the way, is the name of the... Atheistas de Puerto Rico is the name of the organization. It's Atheistas PR. Atheistas.pr.org. I'm butchering the pronunciation of that, I'm sure. But that's it.
Said Michael in the chat goes, isn't Matt almost the first entity you learn of when you join the atheist community? He is one of the most...
He's one of the first people, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the most
at least
prominent.
In American atheism.
Like, if you're an atheist in America, you will likely hear about Hitchens and Dawkins first, then Matt, and then probably...
If you're an American atheist, you will run into these two British atheists.
Yeah.
And then eventually...
It's true, because they're the most published ones.
Right, like Sam Harris and so on. But Matt Dillahunty, if you get involved in atheist debate at all, right? His name comes up.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly. And he's done a lot for atheism at large, making it very accessible and understandable. I don't always agree with the guy. In fact, I disagree with him on a lot. But I can't say the statement being made about him is a little... What? You can't play that game and come out ahead.
Let's see. Continuing on, though, in the lovely conversations where Shirley is concerned, Tim decided this was
Tim's awesome.
Decided to pop in and go, well, good leaders should be virtuous, which I would agree. Now, before we continue that tweet thread, does anybody in the chat understand the philosophical meaning of virtuous? Because it has to do with virtue ethics. This is a basic fucking thing.
Hint: it's not inherently theist.
No, it's not. Virtue ethics says this.
Tim is a theist, but yeah.
But virtue ethics says this. There are vices, and in between two categorically similar vices, you will find a virtue. You will always find your virtue between vices. So, for instance, a virtue may be contentment, where, like, food is concerned. Whereas, to get to that, you would not have starvation, and you would not have engorgement. This is a bad example, but between starvation and engorgement would be contentment. And I could pull up an actual list of vices to pull virtues from if I wanted to do with that there. But point being, this is not a theistic concept.
I just like chocolate. It's one of my vices.
You like chocolate? It's one of your vices? Okay, well.
I'm going to have some chocolate ice cream after this stream, actually, and I've now decided that.
So between the vice of hazelnut and chocolate is Nutella, which is the virtue.
I can agree with that.
Okay, cool. We
I can agree with that.
With the virtue of Nutella.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Excellent. We've gotten it.
We have now defined Nutella as a
get
virtue.
It trending on Twitter. Nutella is a virtue.
As virtuous as Nutella.
As virtuous as Nutella. Nutella is the virtue between the vices of chocolate and hazelnut. Perfect. 10 out of 10. But the point is that this is not a theistic concept. Virtue ethics is a very secular way of looking at any particular thing you're doing to see if it aligns with what is considered virtuous. So, Shirley goes, "This is not a church. Atheist leaders aren't your priests." Tim goes, "Well, I don't care. My statement still stands. Virtue isn't a religious thing." Now, I gotta preface this one. This is the tweet that I finally responded to. Expecting leaders to behave in a certain way is a religious institution thing. What? I'm sorry.
Expecting leaders to behave a certain way.
That's
is
a religious thing.
So anybody that's made any atheist that's made a criticism of, say, Trump's behavior over the past 4 years,
they were being religious.
Yeah. Basically the same thing.
To say that the Pope should not be shuffling around pedophiles as opposed to just yeeting them from his organization, to criticize him is to criticize a leader and asking him to behave a certain way. You're being religious. You're being religious, apparently.
And she's using religious as a slur, which is the funny part. It's like, oh, all right.
Like,
cool. And you responded to that. What did you fucking say?
I gotta pull up my Twitter. I didn't screenshot that.
What did you say?
What did I say? Let me pull up my Twitter. Hold on. Fucking go to my Twitter. Or pop that up on display. Woo. Hey everybody, look, Cyrus has a Twitter. Didn't know. Okay, where is it? Not hammered out. Buddha's what's for dinner. Where is it? Ah, yeah. So I'm going to stop here right there. There's nothing religious about wanting a president, a senator, a mayor, or an organization leader to act in a way that represents you well. Like, that's all I said. That's all I said in regards to that. Because, yeah, that's a pretty secular take. And that's... You want your... I am not a leader of any movement of any kind, but if I comported myself in a particular way on my channel that my fans did not view as ethical, my fans would call me out. And that would not be a religious thing. That would just be being a fucking decent human being.
This is something... There was a number of responses to this. Like, Colin responded saying atheist leaders should be leaders.
Yeah.
And she responds wrong. Which I don't know how you disagree with a tautologist statement like what Colin made, but whatever. Wrong. Directors and presidents are administrators, not your priest. That's why when people don't like them anymore, they get fired. Leader is a quality that remains with people no matter where they go. What does that mean in the context of what she's saying?
Say it one more time.
Wrong. Callan said atheist leaders should be leaders in response to the expecting leaders to behave a certain way as a religious institution thing. And she said, wrong. Directors and presidents are administrators, not your priest. That's why when people don't like them anymore, they get fired. Leader is a quality that remains with people no matter where they go. See if there's a clarification on that point.
So, what this is
She's
doing...
saying administrators should follow policies.
This is just doing the same thing.
But who informs the policy? What the fuck?
This is the same thing as doing what fucking Michael Sherlock was doing before when he was trying to say, if I'm using the R slur, it must mean this. This is an etymological fallacy. You are arguing that these words have essential meanings that you must keep. The leader of an organization, if they leave, they are no longer the leader of the organization, which is the usage that everybody is using in regards to leadership here.
What the fuck? I'm just going through. Administrations follow policies. Callan says that that's really poor logic. and she responds, according to your logic, would it be okay to fire or suspend a police officer because he cheated on his wife? That is also bad behavior from a community leader. What do you think? What are you talking about, says Callan. You're saying that leaders need to do the right thing. And Tim says, correct. I was like, there's something to be said for when it's unrelated to your job, right? But
when it's unrelated to your job and does not have bearing on your job.
Right. Right. But in the case of Sherlock, that's not an analogous example. Because he is the leader of a public-facing organization that does work. That's AAI. What they do and what they spend their money on is a very confusing thing that there isn't a lot of clarity on. But apparently they rescue people out of dangerous situations and stuff. But there's some questions about like how exactly that's handled and who handles that and that kind of stuff.
Well,
as evidenced by saying, by saying Michael Sherlock has handled this when somebody else that's an ex-member of that organization was like, no, there's somebody else that does this. Is actually really devoted to her work that handles that. Which means Michael Sherlock, the suspension of Michael Sherlock for 1 month did not put anybody in danger, in fact, despite the claim. But going back into this, he made a comment that directly affected the image of his own public image, as well as the organization that he represents. So yes, that's the example of a leader doing something that winds up affecting his job. And on top of that, another reason why this analogy is disanalogous is that police officers are not necessarily leaders. It's one thing if the police chief says something, right? It's another thing if a policeman does something. I mean, even in this case, the cheating on the wife thing doesn't necessarily follow, although we have seen various politicians fall in one way or another due to infidelity. Mm-hmm. So
more fan art.
Whether or not that's right is another question, but anywho, you can argue that doesn't necessarily have to do with their job or whatever the fuck, but it doesn't apply here. This is a case in which Sherlock made a statement that directly affected his job. So, anywho, I've ranted. Go ahead, Cirrus. What's next?
Well, one, you're an egg.
I'm an egg.
Yeah, you're an egg.
Is that a bald joke?
No, that's just, Egg Ocean is just a thing that happened, and it's in fan art, and it's on the stream now.
Oh, goodness gracious, what's going on?
Also, we have another one.
I'm an egg.
You're too late, Ocean.
I guess it is a bald joke.
I cannot put the bread down. I am the bread.
Oh my fucking god, that's amazing.
It is too late, Ocean. I cannot put the bread down. I am the bread.
I love this Egg Ocean now that I'm looking at it.
New profile picture one.
I don't know what's happening with that egg. I love how it says Egg Ocean on the top and the bottom.
Yes. That's like the fucking
it's like, just
memes.
In case you missed this label, it's down here too.
That's like the memes that go, haha, this meme is funny, bottom text.
Huh. Right.
Also, we have been instructed to change the color to orange, which may be the final color of the stream, I believe,
because we got to wrap this down.
We do, mostly because my stomach is telling me it's time. It is
I see.
Time.
It is very time.
We are now orange. The orange stream is bad. That's why it's ending. we're here.
Orange stream bad.
Yeah.
I am Spartacus. I mean, I am the bread.
I am the bread.
So where are we in this?
Disappointed. We're very
I think
disappointed.
so. I think so. This is a giant fucking mess. You got multiple atheist organization leaders that are doing things that are fairly ridiculous, all back to back, all at the same time. Why?
Because, Ocean. Because. If I do a display capture now, it will just show a random part of my background, which is from Hyperdimension Neptunia. There. But it's
Fucking
dis.
weirdo.
Yes. Have you seen?
Motions casually at background. After the stream,
What?
I'm gonna go watch some anime.
What do you consider all of this? Anyway, I'm upset. I'm very upset. I found out that the Evangelion set in Weiss is old and therefore really, really power crept out.
Oh.
I wanted to play Neon Genesis Evangelion in Weiss, but it's a bad idea too.
But back to atheist organizations, sirs.
Have you seen Eva? I'm kidding. They were very
Valid.
religious. They were very religious in Eva.
Valid. Anyway, so
it is
God is in
disappointing.
heaven and all is right with the world.
It is disappointing to me that this shit even happens in the first place, because this should not be a problem. This is very simple shit that shouldn't be difficult to understand, especially if you have the rhetorical talent to get yourself into a position of power within any organization. How do these very basic concepts, like, hey, don't be a fuck on the internet, how do those elude you? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because while I want to say I don't understand, it doesn't make any sense to me to a lot of things, most of those things I understand, but what I don't get is how you get to a position that requires you to have at least some semblance of PR skill.
Mm-hmm.
And not know how to handle public relations.
And why is it that three of these organizations are having this problem at the same time?
It's another thing I'd like to know. It's frustrating. It is frustrating because I am an advocate for atheism on the internet.
Right.
Do I want to convert everybody to atheism? No. I'd like you to have good reasons for whatever you decide your belief is going to be. I've had people message me and tell me that
Dogmastic voluntarism.
apparently I've had people message me and tell me that my channel led them to polytheism. So, cool. Whatever. As long as you have a good reason for believing what you're believing, then that's fine. It's the philosophy that I care about more than anything. But regardless, I will advocate for atheism, because if you are an atheist, then I will defend you. I will give good reasons to be one if I can. I will do what I can to help there. So it really upsets me when the people who represent me to the United fucking Nations...
Oh yeah, that's right. AAI.
Yes!
They have that little connection. The John Richards, Michael Sherlock group that we've just been talking about.
Yes.
They have that connection to the United Nations.
When you represent me ostensibly to the UN...
They represent you. If you're an atheist in the chat right now, they represent you to the United Nations.
I reserve every right to criticize you, to put you on blast, because you represent me on the world stage. That's what you do. Your organization represents me on the world stage.
You, Cirrus, have missed the point of the Blasphemy blog. Criticize everything but me.
I think that's a good way to end the show, Ocean. Just
works for me.
just my upsetness at this is literally, it's not just these people did bad stuff on the internet, ooh, boo them. Like fucking we didn't even get into David Silverman.
No.
We didn't. There's a whole thread. for David Silverman.
David Silverman baby talking people. He starts talking about how people said bad wordy poos.
Yep.
It's very strange. The baby talk doesn't make him any less creepy.
You know what makes him even what makes him not creepy at all? Do you remember penis?
Oh god,
penis. That
he says
shit.
it is fairness. He's like, I recognize that was bad and I deleted it and all that stuff. But that doesn't stop us from making fun of him for it because he continues doing this shit.
Yeah.
Like weird world. Hell world, in the words of Shoe on Head. Fucking hell world.
Because the other world is a dog whistle.
What?
Clown world. Clown world's a dog
whistle.
Clown
world. Oh, okay. Yeah. Although using clown emojis as responses to things is kind of funny.
My favorite response.
There's a thinky clown emoji in my server that I use heavily.
There's a great meme that I love, and I think I will use that meme to end us out. I think. Let me find it real quick.
What is the meaning of life?
Let me see if I can find it here. You can see me Googling shit. So
I know.
Here it is.
Oh.
While Clown World is definitely a racist fucking dog whistle and should never be used, there are some memes that I think can be used. And when you're dealing with people like the leaders of these organizations, remind them not to lose their shoes. With all that said, thank you all for hopping on to Hammered Out today. Not Hammered Out, actually. It wasn't Hammered Out. Today's Tuesday.
It's not Hammered Out.
It's not Hammered Out
Here's
at all.
Day.
So, thank you for hopping on Not Hammered Out. Hope you enjoyed. Sub to Ocean if you haven't already. The link for his channel is in the description. That said... Insert end of it. No! It's insert end of stream! I said insert end of video. God damn it. 2.5 years. 2.5 years of the same tagline, and I cannot unsay it.
You've ruined the entire stream. We have to start over.
Everything is gone. Everything's bad.
We have to start over from scratch.
Everything's ruined.
Delete the stream. Delete it.
Okay, stream.